In this video, you'll be looking at mass movement. You'll be looking at what mass movement is and the four types: rock slides, mudslides, slumping and rock falls. Mass movement is the downslope movement of rock, soil or mud under the influence of gravity. The trigger is usually heavy rainfall. The water can be absorbed by the rocks or soil, making the material heavier, and it acts as a lubricant which reduces friction. A factor which influences the scale of movement is weathering. Typically, the more weathering that has taken place, the bigger the mass movement. A rock slide is when a larger amount of rock slides down a cliff. These occur on cliffs where the slip plane or bedding plane is fairly straight. A bedding or slip plane is a well-defined surface which is separate from another. If you have a look at the diagram, there are several bedding planes on this cliff. When the rock moves, it remains in contact with the cliff as it is moving along, and any rocks which have slid down the cliff will collect at the bottom. Mudslides happen in a very similar way. Again, the cliff face is fairly steep, typically greater than 10 degrees. Usually there is also a lack of vegetation, so soil particles are not held together very well. Once there is heavy rainfall, the soil becomes saturated and heavier, and without anything to hold the particles together, the soil can move. At the base, the wet soil will spread out to form a lobe. Slumping is not really any different to any other type of slides. However, they have a curved or concave bedding plane which causes the material to rotate backwards into the cliff as it slips, as seen in the diagram. Rock falls typically occur on vertical, bare, highly fractured cliffs which are prone to freeze-thaw weathering. As these rocks fall, there is no contact with the cliff face. Any rock that falls will fan out at the bottom to form a scree slope. Now that you have revised mass movement, let's see what you can remember. Are these statements true or false? During a rock slide, rocks lose contact with the cliff face. A lobe forms at the base of a mudslide. A scree slope forms as a result of slumping. A rock slide is aided by freeze-thaw weathering. A trigger for mass movement is heavy rainfall. Pause the video now before the answers are shown. So during a rock slide, rocks lose contact with the cliff face. This statement is false. During a rock slide, the rocks maintain contact with the cliff face. A lobe forms at the base of the mudslide. This one's true. A scree slope forms as a result of slumping. This one's false. A scree slope forms as a result of a rock fall. Rock slides are aided by freeze-thaw weathering. This one's true. A trigger for mass movement is heavy rainfall. True. Water increases the weight of the material as it becomes saturated and it reduces friction.